So just to start with, I'm a mom blogger and I've been blogging for around a year now. And I have a baby who is going to turn 9 months old this 25th. So when I started weaning him off like milk during the day, I really felt that, this was something that a lot of moms struggle with. There's a lot of pressure from families, especially people who are living in joint families. The grandparents want to feed something, or their way of feeding is different, and the mom wants to do something differently. So that's when I spoke to Ruchi and I said, I'd like to take a small webinar on this topic because I think it's very important. I'll try to cover as much as I can in as little time as possible. And in case I feel that we're running out of time, maybe we can do another short webinar later. So I'll just get started. So I'll just share my screen. Just a moment. Yep, so that's the name of the workshop, Weaning 101. So I'm going to tell you all the basics of introducing solids. So the first question arises when to introduce solids. So mostly it's at 6 months of age, and it depends on whether the baby is ready or not as well. Some babies are ready at 5 months, and for some you need to wait till they're almost 7 months old. So broadly, it's 6 months, but under any circumstance, please do not start before 4 months of age because the baby's digestive system is just not ready for anything except breast milk and formula before 4 months of age. Regardless of whatever your nanny, dadi, mother, whosoever, mother-in-law, anyone, they say something, the 4 months is definitely the mark. You should remember. So as I said that, when the baby is ready. So how do you know that your baby is ready? So there are a few common signs of readiness that you can look at. The first one is that the baby should be able to sit upright without or with support. So for Yadhan, he could sit upright with a little bit of support and partially without support. So the reason is that when the baby, so you definitely don't have to feed your baby anything solid while the baby is lying down. Even if it's a puree, please don't ever do that because it is a choking hazard when the baby is lying down. So the baby should be sitting upright the way I'm sitting right now. Maybe it could be on the floor, on a high chair, or maybe even in your lap if you're comfortable with that. The second is the baby should have good head control. So this comes with strong neck and back muscles. If your baby is nearing 6 months of age and doesn't have good head control, please give a lot of tummy time because tummy time really helps the baby's development of these neck muscles, and this helps them to hold their head upright and to control it as well. The third one is opens mouth or leans forward when food is offered. So you see, towards 5.5 to 6 months of age, the baby gets very curious and inquisitive about your plate, about what you are eating. They might want to grab onto something. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are hungry, but it just does mean that they're curious about what you are doing. And slowly, when if the baby is sitting in the high chair, they would tend to open their mouth, or they'll come forward to grab the spoon from your hand or with their mouth. So these are three common signs of readiness when you know that I can now introduce solids to my baby. So these readiness signs can come at 5 months. They can also come up till 7 months. So there's no fixed date that it's 6 months now, and you're sitting and worrying that my baby doesn't have good head control. You can wait for a couple of weeks or a couple of days for all these signs of readiness. So you might be thinking, why all of a sudden after 6 months, you need to introduce solids. So for the first year of baby's life, unlike what most people might think, breast milk or formula is the primary source of nutrition. The baby gets maximum nutrition that he or she needs from your breast milk or from formula feeding. So you don't need to, stuff too much into your baby. They are getting most of their nutrition from you. So for the first 6 months, babies, they use up iron stores in their body. So that those iron stores they develop when the baby is still in your womb. And plus, breast milk and formula milk also have the nutrients. It has iron and all. So the baby takes those iron stores and takes the breast milk nutrition. So, but after 6 months, this iron becomes insufficient for their growth. So you might have seen on your if your baby has already hit the 6 month mark, most pediatricians they give you iron drops. Iron and folic acid drops for your baby when you go for the 6 month vaccination. So this is the reason because children start developing anemia because iron becomes insufficient. So therefore, we need solids are needed to be introduced. Also, solids help in developing different tastes and textures. Babies, you can't stay on liquid diet for your whole life. So definitely, after so slowly the babies needs to be introduced to different kinds of tastes, different kinds of textures, not just purees, but slightly lumpy food as well. They need to learn how to chew. Their teeth are developing. Their jaw, they're learning how to walk around their jaw. They have to learn how to talk. The language development is there. Then food also has the introduction of food leads to hand-eye coordination as well. The baby looks at the food, they realize that they have to bring it to the mouth. Or if you are spoon feeding them, then also they know that they have to open their mouth and the spoon is right there. They learn how to bite. So there are many things that babies actually start learning once solids are introduced. So once you've decided to introduce solids, the next question mark is what weaning method should I choose? So if you're on Instagram and if you're active there, you definitely must have come across two different terms. One is traditional weaning and one is baby-led weaning. From what I have seen, baby-led weaning is not completely new. Although there is this lady called Gil Rapley, and she popularized baby-led weaning in the past 10 years or so. And because she had a very hard time feeding her children, and then she realized that maybe babies self-feeding would be helpful. So traditional weaning is basically the weaning that maybe all of us are, we know about very well. Our mothers, our grandmothers, they all fed us by their hands. Mostly they started by purees and all this dal ka pani, chawal ka pani. I'm sure you've all heard of all of that. But baby-led weaning is slightly different in that you start offering finger foods right from the beginning. So what are finger foods? Finger foods is so if you take two of your fingers, approximately this length and this breadth. So maybe if you're giving sweet potato, instead of mashing it and giving it as a puree, you would offer it to your baby as a wedge, like maybe a potato wedge or something like that. And even if you are giving something that's in a pureed form, maybe like a porridge or something, you cook it to be thick, and then you put it in the spoon and keep it in front of the baby, and the baby tries to feed himself or herself on his own. So that is basically what baby-led weaning is all about. And traditional weaning is when you yourself are feeding your baby. Now, there are certain things that you need to keep in mind. Personally, right now, I am doing traditional weaning, but with a little bit of differences, which I will just share with you after explaining the differences between the two. So for baby-led weaning, we have many pros. Firstly, the baby is ready to eat whatever you are eating. So you don't have to cook anything separately. Second is no purees. So if from the very beginning you're giving your baby safe food. I'll explain what safe foods are in a bit. And then there's no parental intervention. So whatever the baby is eating, he or she is eating on his own. You are just standing there as an onlooker and giving your baby the opportunity to feed himself or herself. And in baby-led weaning, you can also sit with your child at the dining table or near their high chair, and everyone can eat together. So there is no transition from purees to finger foods or to proper meals because the baby has been eating food like an adult from the very beginning. And proper proponents of baby-led weaning say that it leads to less chances of having a picky eater. Well, I personally am not a picky eater and I have been definitely weaned traditionally, so it is not necessary, but that's what they say. The cons of baby-led weaning is that it's very messy, firstly. You can imagine your baby sitting there, putting food all over his body or throwing it on the floor. It's like, the baby is playing with the food and learning how to eat as well. It leads to a lot of food wastage, obviously, because sometimes there's more food in the baby's bib or on the floor than which actually goes inside their body. Then you will be uncertain about how much food the baby is actually eating. And obviously, you have to plan your own meals around the baby's food if you don't want to cook for them separately. For traditional weaning, obviously it gives the mother or whoever is feeding the baby and the baby a chance to bond. Like when I really treasure the moments when I'm feeding my baby. Although I'm very particular about how I'm feeding him. You can be sure about the food intake. Okay, I cooked this much and this much is how my baby has eaten. So yes, his tummy is probably full. It's not messy. You're sure that your baby is getting all the nutrients. And to a certain extent, there might be lesser chance of choking. Although, according to research, the chances of choking on purees is almost the same as chances of choking on finger foods if you are providing safe food to your baby. The cons are the chances of force feeding are high. You might end up overfeeding your little one, thinking that, oh, this bowl is still half full. My baby hasn't eaten, so let me keep on feeding. Second, the baby gets used to purees. So then the transition to finger foods becomes really difficult later on. And the baby is used to spoon feeding, so maybe they just don't want to, pick up something and eat. And then another thing, proponents of baby-led weaning say that children end up reaching their hand-eye coordination goals and motor skills goals sooner. But that's debatable. After all, every child, regardless of weaning method, will reach their coordination goals and motor skills. So I personally don't think that, if by following baby-led weaning only these goals can be met. There are other activities also that you can do with your child to help them attain those goals. So in traditional weaning, I think there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. The first thing is you should do responsive feeding. What is responsive feeding? You need to move away from those traditional ways of, saying, oh, look at the bird, and then you just, sneak a spoon inside your baby's mouth. That is not how you're supposed to feed your baby. Your baby and you should be completely involved in the process. The baby should know that, okay, mama is bringing this food to my mouth. I have to open my mouth. And as a caregiver, what is your duty? Your duty is to look at the hunger cues of your baby. If your baby is, he had maybe 3 or 4 spoons and now he is moving his mouth away or he is moving his face away, it actually means that the baby has had enough. Or that he was already full, maybe by breast milk or formula, or maybe they're just not in the mood to eat at that time. It could be gas, it could be so many different things. Like sometimes it's lunchtime, but you're not necessarily hungry. So the same applies to your baby as well. Just because your baby is not eating for after 2-3 spoons, it doesn't mean that, oh, you need to worry so much that, oh, he didn't eat today. You can always offer the same food after a couple of hours or maybe after half an hour. So you don't have to force feed your baby. The main problem where traditional weaning fails is parents start force feeding their baby. Then the baby starts turning into a picky eater because their relationship with food gets spoiled. Because today, if somebody starts feeding you forcefully, suppose you're a guest at somebody's house, and when people, they stand on your head and they just, want you to eat more, you get so irritated. So the same applies to your baby. Imagine experiencing that every single day of your life for your first for 6 months. You'll be to eat this, so please don't feed me. So the same applies to your baby. So you have to do, yes. Manali, were you saying something?
No, sorry. By mistake, it was just. You continue.
Yeah. So the same thing is here as well. So you need to be sure that you're doing responsive feeding if you are going the traditional feeding way. So if and in case anybody has any questions, please feel free to stop me and please ask. So as a new mom, you might be wondering, what all do you need before you actually start solids? So all these things are not necessary or compulsory. You can start without them as well, but they just make the process very easy. And this is from my own experience. First is a high chair. And one advice for any mom who wants to practice baby-led weaning, please buy a high chair which is very simple to clean and there's not much tamjam, it should be a very basic structure, because if you have too many cushions and very different grooves and stuff, then because your baby is throwing food, there's food all over the place. The food tends to get stuck into small corners and it gets very difficult to clean. The second one is a bib. You definitely need a bib because babies, even if they're spoon fed, it gets very difficult. Or they have food all over the place, on their mouth, in their hair, everywhere. And try to buy a silicone bib. A silicone bib helps because it's like it has a bag kind of structure underneath. And the food gets collected there, so their lower body doesn't get dirty. Third is silicone spoon. That helps because even if the baby bites the spoon, it doesn't hurt their gums. So I experienced this initially. I did not buy a silicone spoon. I thought I would feed him with the silver spoon that I had. When he used to bite it, he used to cry. So it used to hurt his gums. So it's good to have a silicone spoon. The next is a suction plate. It's definitely a must if you're following baby-led weaning. But even though I'm not completely following baby-led weaning, I do have a suction plate because I let Idhan touch the food. Even if he throws some, I allow him to do that. And the reason why I haven't been able to start with baby-led weaning is because he still doesn't take anything to his mouth. So even if he sits for half an hour, he just won't pick up anything and take it in his mouth. So it's good to have a suction plate because the baby won't be able to throw the whole plate on the floor. Then the next is the fruit feeder. It may not be completely necessary, but if you want to feed your baby something like pomegranate or something, things like which might be a choking hazard, but they have a juice or something inside it that you want to feed your baby, then a fruit feeder can be really helpful with that. Next part is what are the risks of introducing solids? Like anything new that we try with our babies, there's always a risk. First and foremost, biggest risk and biggest concern of every mother is the risk of choking. So when it comes to baby-led weaning, a lot of people think that, how will my baby chew? My baby doesn't have teeth. Biggest question mark. Baby doesn't have teeth, it's okay. Have you ever felt your baby's gums? They are so hard, they're almost as hard as, teeth, gums with teeth in them because they're so super tight. So, and if your baby has ever bitten you, or while breastfeeding, you definitely know how hard your baby can actually bite. So babies can bite with or without teeth. That is one clarification. And second, there's always a risk of choking, whether you're feeding your baby purees or proper finger foods. Babies can choke. Sometimes babies, start gagging even when they're drinking breast milk. If they gulp in too much together, they start coughing. So there's no worry in that sense. And you should know the difference between gagging and choking. I can try and imitate gagging. So like when your baby is just taken in something and they do like this. Even we gag sometimes. So this is gagging. But choking is completely different. In choking, you will see your baby is unable to breathe. Their face suddenly turns red because of the lack of oxygen supply. So that you definitely know that something is stuck in their throat. So if your baby gags, you just need to ensure that, you know, can you still feel that they are breathing, and you don't need to panic at that time. If you start jumping, you know, up and down, your baby will get even more scared, and the gagging session might actually convert into a choking session. So you have to be very careful and aware. You can also check on YouTube. There are many videos explaining the difference between gagging and choking. Although I've made as much, you know, clarity as I can right now. So you can always just go and see what is the difference between gagging and choking. The next part is that you, as a caregiver, if you are cooking, then it's you, or you know, maybe your in-laws or your mom, or if you have a nanny for your baby, she should know how to cook safe foods for the baby. So now, when you talk about safe foods, how do you know the food is safe? If you press the food with your index finger and your thumb, you should be able to press it, and it should mash between these two with very little effort. So basically, if the baby bites that food, they should be able to work it around and convert it like into a puree or like something mushy in their mouth so that they can gulp it easily. So that is basically what a safe food is. Different kinds of foods have different ways of cooking them in the safe manner. I can give you a couple of examples. Like for sweet potato, you know, you can make wedges, like this thick wedge. And why it needs to be a thick wedge? So if, especially if you're doing baby-led weaning, so that your baby can hold it. So at 6 months of age, children hold everything like this. This is called a palmar grip. They want to hold everything like this. So this gets easy for them to hold something that's like stick. So like a banana, suppose. So you can give a whole banana to your baby. You can peel it halfways and leave the peel on at the bottom and offer it to your baby. So they'll probably eat it like, you know, an adult does. Banana is a very safe food. I think most babies love it, and it's filling, it's full of nutrients. So that is one example. And obviously, if you're giving purees or maybe very so, you can. I personally am not in favor of giving purees, even though I've followed traditional weaning. I've never given Ethan completely pureed food unless it's a porridge or something. So you can definitely, you know, steam everything to make it very soft. Before offering it to your baby. So mainly the thing is that it shouldn't be something hard which can get stuck in the baby's throat. The fourth thing that you should know is basic CPR. I think although choking is something which is very rare, especially if you are very careful when you're feeding your baby, but since there is always a small likelihood of choking, even if it's a 0.1% chance, you should be ready for it. I'm not a certified CPR expert, but you know, there are people on, you have many YouTube videos as well that show you how you should do CPR for a baby, especially. So I would really suggest that you have a look at a couple of videos and make sure that you understand how to give CPR. Okay. So what to feed your baby? In traditional weaning, as I said, purees are definitely popular. But like a mom like me who was anti-pureed food from the very beginning, I always, you know, cooked everything to make it very soft, but I always kept sure that I kept, you know, pieces. Like suppose if I've cut carrots and I've steamed them, or I put those carrots in his dal or something, I would always leave them, you know, this big. So, and so mushy that as soon as you put them in his mouth, he's able to chew them or, you know, press them with his tongue and his gums. So that I think makes it very easy for you to switch from like, you know, this mushy food to finger foods later on. Yeah, so it gets very easy, I think, to move from different textures. And in baby-led weaning, since there is no movement from different textures, from purees to different textures, then it gets easier because initially only you started with finger foods. And the earlier you start with finger foods, the sooner the baby gets used to different textures and learns how to manage the food easier. And sometimes you might feel that your baby doesn't know how to chew or that motion isn't coming in their mouth. Well, if you're feeding them, make sure that you are also eating along with them, because babies, they learn very fast. So if you show them how you are chewing and eating food, they will definitely try and imitate you. I put some healthy food options here, and I will give a chart of a monthly food chart kind of thing that you can follow. So some healthy food options are apple, banana, Cerelac, homemade Cerelac, not the box one. Semolina, that's sushi, oats, then different kinds of millets. So you have barley, ragi, foxtail millet, pearl millet. There are so many different millets which are extremely good for your baby, especially if they are allergic to gluten. Then there's bottle gourd or lauki, then pumpkin. And I would suggest that you keep on introducing new flavors and tastes to your baby to keep their taste buds, active. They should like and enjoy different variety of food. Please don't give them the same thing day in and day out. Babies also have very sensitive taste buds, and they enjoy food if you give them yummy food. So now you must be wondering that, okay, my baby's food is so bland. It's like carrot puree, beans puree, peas puree. How should I make it interesting? Well, the easiest way is to add a little bit of spices or seasoning for your baby. First and foremost, please, 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 no sugar, no salt for babies under age 1. Even after age 1, the amount in terms of milligrams is very less for acceptable levels of sugar and salt. Their bodies cannot process too much of sugar and salt, so please avoid these two. And some safe spices that you can add to your baby's food. The basic stuff that we all have at home: elaichi, cardamom, nutmeg, jaifal. Then you have cinnamon or dalchini. Then you have ajwain seeds. You have sauf, hing, jeera, haldi. All these, dhania powder. There's so many things that you can actually add to your baby's food to make it yummy. So no need to serve them plain bland food just because you can't add salt and sugar. Then we come to an important point of allergens. So some babies, especially if you have a genetic history of being allergic to a certain food, please be sure that you test whether your baby is allergic or not. It's initially they used to say introduce allergens after 1 year of age, but actually now they say the sooner you start feeding them allergens, the lesser is the chance of developing allergy to that particular thing. So follow the 3-day rule. So suppose if you've started offering yogurt, which is a dairy product, which is an allergen. So for 3 days, you have to continuously offer yogurt without adding something else, without adding another common allergen, so that you can see the baby's reaction to that particular allergen. So the different allergens are gluten, which is found in wheat. Then you have dairy. Then you have fish, eggs, and nuts. So some kids are allergic to even almonds and peanuts and stuff like that. So you can definitely try and add in these items in their diet. Common signs of allergies are rashes, redness, stomach pain, diarrhea, vomiting. Personally, I'm allergic to eggs, so I know that it's a really painful experience. And in case if you see any of these signs, please contact the baby's pediatrician immediately to know what you can do to help them out. Foods to avoid.
Rupal, can I interrupt in between? We have just last 5 minutes left for the meeting. In case we just, this meeting ends up, we can just start up with the new meeting.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So foods, Manali has her hand.
Yes, I wanted to ask if when can we introduce nuts? Like from the beginning itself, my baby is 6.5 months. Should I start immediately or maybe I should wait till 7th or 8th month?
So I started with almond. What I used to do, I used to soak. We all have soaked almonds in the morning every day. So one almond I would soak for him peel it in the morning and just make a very fine paste and just feed your baby that's with a spoon or something, or just make them lick your finger, or if you want them to self feed, they can, maybe you can hand over the spoon to them. So that's one easy way of starting, and then you can observe your baby's reaction to adding nuts. You can make a nuts mixture at home, or there are also many brands like Early Foods and all. They are giving very nice freshly made nut mixtures for babies. So you can order one of those also, and you can start at 6 months. Definitely, you can start.
And how do we decide the portions that we are giving? Like, how do we know how much should we give?
So initially, when your baby is just 6 months old, it can be like just 2 spoons or 3 spoons, and your baby is done. So basically, how I see it is that sometimes he might be super hungry. Sometimes the amount that I cook for him, वो भी कम पड़ जाता है, and sometimes the whole bowl goes waste. So it actually depends on your baby's appetite at that point in time.
Yes, that's what like if he's asking for more, like agar wo zyada mangta hai, to we can give more, na? Like it's not like we shouldn't be feeding him too much or aisa kuch hai kya?
No, as long as your baby is happy accepting what you're feeding, you can definitely feed him. Sometimes it happens that maybe babies are also like us. They might tend to overeat, especially if they probably find the food is yummy. So babies do throw up a little bit of food, like they throw up milk or breast milk. They can also throw up a bit of the solid food, and that's okay. If the baby is happy and playing, otherwise, a little bit of vomit is completely fine. It's normal. So don't worry about that.
Okay, one last question. Like, should we give from the starting? Should we give them the food 3 times a day, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, or it can be?
I think initially it is better to stick to either breakfast or lunch.
Lunch.
Because I think then the baby has the whole day to digest all that you have fed him or her, and it gets easy. And then you can look at your baby's hunger cues. Suppose you started with breakfast, and now when lunch is there, maybe you cook like them 2 spoons you've just offered, and he's happy, eat it. Then slowly, slowly, it has to be very slow, because initially, the digestive system has to get used to digesting and eating all of that food, because breast milk and formula are very easy to digest. So yeah, this was the question. I think Rashmi asked this question in the chat. So baby is now 6.5 months old. She opens her mouth if we offer something from our plate, like a piece of chapati, and she puts it in her mouth, but does not open her mouth if I offer food in a steel spoon, or if I try to use my fingers to feed her. I think Rashmi, maybe you should try allowing your baby to feed herself. Maybe she does not want to be fed by you. She wants to have more control over the meals that she's having. So why don't you try out baby-led weaning for a change, and see how she reacts to that. You can still continue, making safe foods for her, and give it a shot. What do you think about this idea? Okay.
Rashmi said yes.
Yeah. Okay, so coming back to the presentation, foods to avoid. Salt and sugar, as I said, salt basically because the baby's kidneys are very sensitive initially, and they can't process a lot of salt. Sugar, it leads to early tooth decay and dental caries, so that's why sugar is not recommended for babies. And also, babies have a sweet tooth. They very quickly develop liking to sugary or sweet foods. So, you might actually think that, okay, let me add a little sugar, baby, fatafat khana kha lega. But that's not how it works. Babies will tend to, start liking sugary food so much that they probably end up rejecting salty or, different kinds of taste that you might offer. Then is honey. Honey before 1 year of age is not to be fed to your baby. Why? Because it might contain an organism that causes infant botulism, which is a disease, and it's a fatal disease. So that's why you should not give honey. And plus, today's date, almost honey brands available in the market are actually, they are not pure. They're full of sugar. So these are two important points why honey should be avoided. Then the next is juice. So juice not only before 1 year of age, but even after 1 year, like they say, almost till 2.5, 3 years, you should actually avoid giving juice to your kids. Again, because the sugar content, so the way glucose and the different components of food are there when it's in a whole fruit, and in the juice, the component, it changes its chemical structure. So it actually becomes more sugary when it comes to the juice. So that's why you shouldn't be giving your baby juice. And also, it is good for the baby to have a little amount of roughage, which obviously is not there in juice because you pureed it, mashed it, you passed it through a strainer, and removed half the nutrients in the beginning only. And juice gets very liquidy, so that doesn't really give much nutrients to your baby except for giving them a full stomach. The next is biscuits. A lot of people say, biscuit doodh mein ghol ke khila do. That's the easiest snack. Please, please don't do that unless you're making the biscuits at home without sugar, without maida, without salt. No Parle G, no Marigold biscuit, please. Okay, because they're all even Parle G, even if you're having Mary digestive biscuits, please, they all have refined flour in them. So please don't give all these things to your baby. Next is tea, coffee, obviously not recommended for children. The next is cow's milk. So a lot of times, people say, you say don't give cow's milk, but you're giving him curd. Curd is also cow's milk, but don't give cow's milk as a drink. So cow's milk should not replace breast milk or formula. Maybe if you're adding like a 2, 3 teaspoons in there, maybe if you're made like a halwa or something, you can add milk in that, or you can give them curd. Curd is a probiotic. Please give your baby lots of curd if possible, at room temperature, not to be served cold. It's a probiotic, so it's very good for their digestion. It has good bacteria. Probiotics are foods which have good bacteria and they enable digestion in the tummy. So then next, obviously, fried food, junk food. It's not that if you are having French fries, you break a piece and give it to your baby. Please don't do that ever. So these are a couple of things that you need to avoid. Things to remember. So as we started this presentation, I told you iron stores start falling after 6 months. So the baby needs iron. So how can you add in iron? First, obviously, you can offer iron-rich food. Give lots of green vegetables. Give millets, like especially like ragi. Ragi is very good. It's high in iron and calcium. And vitamin C helps in the absorption of iron in the body. So please try and give vitamin C rich food. Tomatoes, I think, yes, tomatoes have a lot of vitamin C. Mostly sour foods, they have vitamin C. But obviously, don't give too much of it because excess of vitamin C can also cause gastric issues in the body. And also, please try and cook food for your baby in an iron vessel. Like you can take an iron kadhai. to cook their meals. So when you cook in an iron kadhai, a lot of iron molecules get released into the food and they're actually good. That's why in olden days people used to cook in iron utensils, but then along came aluminium and people forgot about iron utensils completely. So even if you're making a dosa or maybe a pancake for your baby, try to make it on a cast iron tawa. Please don't use non-stick utensils for cooking for your baby. And offer healthy food. Try to give a wide variety of meals. I wouldn't say overload their plate, but try and offer 2 or 3 things together, like maybe dal, roti, and curd. I make it a point to offer curd at least once in a day, at least in the afternoon meal. There are so many things that I personally I feel everything that we are eating, 90% of those things your baby can eat minus salt and sugar. Like, they can have pumpkin, carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, brinjal, potato, sweet potato. The list is endless. They can have cucumber, lauki, tori, tina, like literally everything. I've even given him bhindi. I used to put, small pieces of bhindi in his dal, and when it gets steamed, they get really soft and mushy, and he could easily eat them. So literally don't limit yourself to purees and mashed foods, please. The faster you introduce proper food to your baby, the easier your life will be. And also when you're offering roti, suppose if you've dipped the roti in the dal to make it soft, you don't need to, like I heard from a few moms, they first grind the roti in a mixie, then they strain it from a strainer and then offer the leftover part. I have never done that. But yes, while offering all these foods, I waited till he was 7.5 months. When I knew he could start, his chewing motion was definitely on point. So these things, you will learn yourself when you will observe your baby eating. As a mom, your instinct will tell you that yes, my baby is ready to, have this kind of food now. So just please observe your baby while he or she is eating food for these small cues. So your baby will only tell you that, these ways you will understand that yes, now he's ready to move another level. And if your baby has rejected the food, don't think अरे यार ये तो ये खाता ही नहीं है अब इसको मैं नहीं दूंगी. No, please just keep offering. Sometimes maybe there's a different taste in that food, that's why the baby didn't eat, maybe he wasn't hungry enough at that time. So just keep offering that same thing. Maybe after like a span of a week or 10 days, offer it again, because again and again if you keep offering, someday or the other they will eventually accept that food. And then you also have a less chance of having a picky eater, because उसने वो taste कभी खाया ही नहीं होगा, तो later on it will be very difficult for the baby to accept those kind of tastes. So offer water along with the food, especially if the baby is it's feeling like you think that they are gagging or something, then you should definitely give them a few sips of water. Especially in the summer, the baby should be hydrated. Although keep the amount of water that you give them limited to 1 or 2 teaspoons at a time. That's it. If the baby is still thirsty, try to continue breastfeeding or formula feeding as much as possible. By the time the baby turns 1 year old, your aim should be that whatever you are eating, the baby should be able to eat everything. And when it comes to things like, chole, rajma and things like that, they are very, very high in nutrient value. Some people introduce them at 6 months, but personally I did not, because I myself feel very gastric after eating these foods. So, now that he is about to turn 9 months old, now I'm going to introduce these foods and I'll be cooking them with a bit of hing. That's asafoetida, that helps, it aids against acidity and gas. So definitely do add a little bit of hing in every meal. It will help your baby to fight gas and other issues, and they won't be colicky. So yeah, coming back, I made this slide. So because I get this question a lot, when I put up pictures of his plate. People ask me, he doesn't have teeth, how does he chew? So yeah, again, babies don't need teeth to chew, because actually the teeth that you use to chew are the molars, which are right at the back. And these teeth anyways don't come until the baby is like 2 years old or even more. So if by that logic, you can't give your baby solid food till they're like 2 or 3 years old. So that it doesn't work that way. Their gums are very hard. They can easily bite and chew with their gums. So I'll just check if I have missed out on anything. I don't think I have. Yes. So any questions, any doubts anybody has? And after this, I'll be sharing. I'll share it with Ruchi directly, or maybe I can share it with each one of you personally if you give me your mail ID. I have prepared like a small menu. So I'll be sharing that with you as well. And in case you have any questions on how to cook, how to prepare food, please ask me definitely. And yes, one point I wanted to add, it just came to my mind. You can always use a pressure cooker to cook your baby's food, but suppose you want to steam carrots, either please buy a steamer. It looks like an idli maker, so there's like a base for water, and then there's a there's a jali kind of thing, and on top of that you can keep the food and steam it. But if you don't want to buy that, a very easy way to steam your baby's food so that it doesn't lose its nutrient value is you take a pressure cooker, take a small steel bowl, cut all the vegetables or whatever you want to steam, put it in the bowl, put water in the cooker, and put the bowl on that water so that the bowl is floating. And then put the take like 2, 3, or 4 whistles till that food is soft. So I think because if you put the food directly in water, all the nutrients get lost and go in the water. So that's useless basically. So that's a good way if you don't have a steamer or if you don't want to buy one. This is one very easy way that you can steam your vegetables for your baby. Yeah, that's all. Ruchi, you were saying something, I think.
Yes, I have shared the link. Please, put your details here so we can share the menu with you. So take a time to fill up details in this form, and then we can definitely share the menu with everyone. Guys, any other questions you all have, please go ahead.
Yeah, I have one question. So my baby is 8 months old right now. So if I am feeding him 3 meals a day, so how many milk feeding should I give him?
Honestly, I breastfeed on demand. So suppose like I've given him breakfast. So then the schedule is basically after like around an hour or so. He needs a little bit of milk, maybe just to sleep or maybe just for comfort. So when you know that you've fed your baby and you've seen that the baby ate well, so try to keep up breastfeeding as well. So I think 3 meals in a day is really good. Right now, Yadhan sometimes still doesn't take 3 meals in a day. If I feed him the third meal in the evening, he ends up puking. So there are days I don't give him the third meal also. And so it's all, honestly, these things they change on a day-to-day basis. So I would suggest 4 or 5 feedings, not necessarily half an hour wala feedings, just 15-20 minutes wala feedings also they will do for this time. And I feel once the baby starts eating solids, they mostly need feeds either to sleep or just for comfort. I think the requirement to fill their stomach goes down a little bit, but do continue feeding at night. Please don't feel that अरे बच्चा क्यों उठ रहा है रात को, maybe he is still hungry. That's also a way of your baby telling you that they need, because breast milk works on demand and supply. So that's actually your baby's way of telling you that they still need your milk.
Yeah, because sometimes it happens if he had his dinner and he's full, so he's not willing to take the night feedings. So that's what I was curious to know actually.
Yeah, I think that's okay. Like I very rarely give him food at night, and even if I do, I feed him at around 6:37, not after that. So maybe you can try that. Maybe try, at what time are you feeding him dinner?
Yeah, it actually gets around 8.
Yeah, so maybe that's a little late for the baby, because if you're feeding him at around 6:37, that gives the baby at least 2 hours to digest the food, and then they can take one feed before they sleep, depending on whatever sleep time you have fixed for them. That can work, I think. But otherwise, if your baby is comfortable in general, then I think you're doing great.
Okay, thank you.